Yo, back again with a new SD card, and now it's time to show how the dry brushing works. You just take the big and dirtiest brush you found, and then you take the brownish, the darkest brown tone you want to start the dry brushing, and then you go over it and try to dry brush and see how it comes out. If you start with black, it's always important to put on the first tone that you are painting with a little bit more paint than the highlight tones by using the technique dry brushing, because you do not want a black color that is highlighted with some other tones. Perhaps you want a base color in a brown or in gray or in green, and if you start by black, it always has that blackish look. So it's the first layers of dry brushing with the dark tones of your color. It's always better to use a little bit more paint than for the last highlights. Yeah, and so it goes on, and I also dry brush the stone quarters and the rocks a little bit, because it's the same terrain, and the rocks and the stone quarters come from the same area, so the colors that are in them are related. So it's always nice, and it gives you a nice transition between the rocks and the stone quarters and the terrain itself. Yeah, it looks more realistic. Then we go over and over, and by using, before the first dry brushing, using some of the washing techniques, you always have some difference in the colors you are on your terrain piece. And it looks more natural to do this by washing techniques than by only using dry brushing techniques. It's always better to mix. Yeah, I use my table to get rid of the paint that I do not use for the dry brushing, because it's a working table, and I like it when it's messed up and when there is always paint, and yeah, it gets a little bit dirty, and because it shows where in which way this table is used. And you can see how your colors turn out, and you will get a better feeling perhaps for your terrain. Yeah. Sitting on the attic, it's a summer day, think about 28 degrees Celsius. So really nice day. Not obviously the day for doing terrain work, but this is some commission work, and yeah, we keep on doing. Yeah, now it's perhaps you always, when you work with colors, it's always important to have the right light. When you use a light for detail works and working light, the colors look different, and it's also depending on the direction from which the light goes on your terrain piece. And if you put it away a little bit, it looks different, it looks much more darker. If you put it on, it looks much more brighter, and you see the details between the paint jobs and the different areas, how they turn out. And if you put it off, it's getting more dark. If you put it in the sun, it's getting brighter than from by the lamp, because you never will get the power of the sun. So it's always important about to have an eye on the light while you do the paint job. But back to the weather. To do a Caribbean style terrain piece for a pirate themed game, it's always it's the right topic to do on a summer day like this.